Alright, what is going on today, guys? I want to talk about the value on these cars and kind of, what your opinions are on the values. Kind of what you pin in the values on my car. Just sorry for the wind noise if there is any. I'm doing my best to try to block it out. I'm in New Jersey, I swear. There's always just wind in New Jersey. But it's, at least in my experience, looking through Craigslist and just kind of looking around at prices on these cars, they seem to vary around a lot. Different years obviously will affect the price. That's really for any car. But also, it seems to be certain packages, which could really happen to any car too, also affects the prices. Generally, the older they are, the cheaper they are, which makes sense. And then obviously more performance-oriented packages on these cars will also increase the price or decrease the price. That's really with any other car. But what kind of makes these unique, at least in my opinion, is what the car was used for. A lot of times a car is just used to be a car. Just back and forth to work, take the kids around, whatever you have to do with, for your car. As these, you can get a civilian model, which is made for that, just regular cloth seats, really nice, whatever, yada yada. You get a Grand Marquis, you can get the Air Ride or whatever. Or you can get one like this, a P71, a police interceptor, where it was, used for police work, used for work, service, whatever type of service you're doing. So you can even break it down even further into that. And then you may have a police interceptor, but then you have different services that it was used for, how the car was maintained and driven. So it's really kind of hard to determine the value on these cars. Now, I will say, usually city cars are the worst, at least with the police interceptors. Well, really in general, city cars are usually just bad to buy. They get dings, really beat up. You don't really want to own a city car. You want to try to avoid it as much as you can. But let's just forget about other cars. Let's just go to the, P71 Crown Vics. City cars, you don't really want a city car because, they're usually pretty beat up. Transmissions are usually pretty much shot by the time you get them. Motors are kind of tired. Brakes, you name it. Suspension. City cars really just get destroyed. So even if you have a newer model, Crown Vic, say a 2009, 2010, and it's a city car, it may actually have less value than let's say mine, a 2004, 05, even an 03 Crown Vic with similar mileage, maybe even higher mileage, because of what the car was actually used for. Now, for whatever reason, 2011 Crown Vics are everyone wants the most money for those. I don't know why. I guess it's just because it's the last year, which, I understand it is the last year, but there's literally nothing different about a 2011 Crown Vic from an 05 Crown Vic, 06. There may be a couple slight little things that they've changed throughout the years. I honestly forget some of the things that they changed over time. But they are really identical cars. I know that, they ended up adding the, I can't even think of it, the flex fuel. So as the years went on, sorry for the wind noise, I'm sure you're getting some. As the years went on, they did, change some things on these cars. Very, very minor things. Doesn't really affect anything really that dramatically. Really anything from 04 and up, they're all going to be very identical cars. So why everyone wants the most money for 2011, I kind of don't get. Like I said, I do know it is the last model year. I understand that, but they're not worth the price in my opinion. Would say you find a 2011 with 110,000 miles. Let's say 100,000 miles. And then you find an 06 with 100,000 miles. The 2011, even though it's in the same condition, maybe even less miles, will be $1,000 more just because it's 2011. Even, we'll just get even more close. We'll just say 2010 or an 09, and then 2011. I'm telling you, 2011 would be $500 more or $1,000 more just because it's 2011. So the value on those cars seem to hold up a little bit more than all the other years. You really, ideally, the most value in these cars is going to come from one that has been well maintained and was not a actual city car like a cop. You really don't want a cop car, ideally. You really want to get one that was a detective unit. Detective units usually will have, they won't have the vinyl flooring. They won't have vinyl flooring like this. They'll have, actual carpet. The seats will match, like this will be cloth, and then the back seat will be cloth. So usually the detective units will match. Not always. There are times where it's a detective car and it has the vinyl flooring and stuff. But those are the best cars to get, is like a fire chief car, a security car, things like that, that you have the police interceptor package, but you don't actually have the police interceptor. So if you look at my car here, it came out of Maryland. It was a Maryland EMT car from what I was told, and I think it was, because I never had a cage in this car. If you look, if it had a cage, they did one hell of a job taking the cage out and replacing it or hiding it, whatever, because I don't see any holes anywhere for a cage. Nothing up here. Looks like nothing was ever even put up here. So if there ever was a cage in this car, I have to say they did one hell of a job like hiding it. You can't even tell. So I really don't think this car ever had a cage in it. So I don't think it was a regular, typical, run-of-the-mill squad car. But the whole purpose of this video that I'm trying to say is, what do you think the value is of my car? You have an EMT car with 140,000 miles on it, newer paint, newer tires, what would you guys pay for something like this? Because I know when I bought this originally, it didn't have the 17-inch rims, it had the 16s. It had newer paint, but it wasn't the factory white paint. It ended up being like some weird pearlescent type color. If you guys go to my old videos when I first started doing videos on this, you can see it's a different color white. It wasn't a bad shade of white. It was more like a darker white. It was almost like a gray, like a whitish gray pearl. It's really weird, but it wasn't a bad color. I didn't dislike it. But what do you think the value of something that is an EMT car, not a typical cop car? I mean, it is an 04 Grand, it is a little bit of an older one, but it's an 04 that really shows pretty well, I'd say. So, let me know what kind of Crown Vics you guys have, what years, and what you think your cars are valued at. Because the values on these are pretty low. They're really they don't have no value at all. You can get these things for dirt cheap. But sometimes, depending if it's the right one, the right model year, right package, right miles, and right maintenance records, they actually can hold somewhat of a value, especially even colored ones. If you get a black one, or like the gunmetal gray one, those kind of hold their value a little bit better than the white ones. The white ones are really low, but if you get one that has a color, they seem to be a little bit more expensive as well. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think, because I think these cars are undervalued. I mean, it's good and bad thing being undervalued. If you're looking to buy one, now's the time to really buy one. You can get one dirt cheap, great car. They're at their lowest they've ever been. I don't think Crown Vics have ever been this cheap before. When I bought one, I got a pretty good deal on it. Had 81,000 miles. I bought it for $3,200. At the time, that was a pretty good deal. Now, I would have been getting ripped off probably. But, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. That's pretty much it for today's video. I'll see you guys in the next video, and take care.